everyone, and welcome to another video and a full day of eating slash in the life, because we're going to be filming most of it anyway, so why not double up, eh? So it is just gone 6:30. I've just picked up Campbell, who is the man holding the camera. The camera actually doesn't hold itself, contrary to popular belief, so picked him up, heading back to the house now to get a lower body session into a high intensity sort of bigger gear turbo session done. So today is going to be focused on breaking down what I eat around my training at the moment. So for those that don't know, I have a rather specific approach to nutrition which is laid out in this video here. So if you want a real load of detail, then go there. But for purposes of today, the information you need to know is that my current calorie baseline is, worst double roundabout in the world, my current calorie baseline is 3,000, because I'm just sitting at maintenance for the next couple of weeks just to sort of see how I get on, see how I feel, etc, etc, before we make a decision on whether I sort of cut a bit of body fat or just sort of keep at maintenance. So 3,000 baseline, and then what I do from a nutrition point of view and what I recommend others do when training like this to balance the books is eat back 90% of whatever your Garmin/Strava says you burn on cardio activities on top of that. So my 3,000 calorie baseline is based on my daily step count and my sort of lifting sessions per week, and I just use caloriecalculator.com, I think it is, or something. I've linked it in the description down below, and it's a best guess. It's not accurate, but it is a best guess. In the same way that the calories on Strava or Garmin are a best guess, that's why I eat back 90% of them, just to account for any margin for error, etc, etc. Because if you're eating back 100%, you might be 20% over what you actually burned, etc, etc. So I'm going to err on the side of caution as I normally do with it. So realistically, I'll have 3,000 calories plus about 400 to 500 maybe off the bike. We will find out shortly, but that is the brief. I have a squat focus session this morning, then on to what was the Sufferfest is now Wahoo System, then we are into the office, and then it's one meeting at 10 AM over the phone, and then the rest of the day is just going to be sort of grunt work at my desk, and I will take you all through it. Before we go any further, a few things to request from you. First of all, if at any stage you enjoy the video, drop it a like, and if you have any thoughts and feelings to share, please comment them down below. And if you haven't already, I will crash this car if you do not subscribe immediately. That was perfectly timed. I'm very pleased with that. Anyway, don't comment how reckless that was, because very quiet roads, everyone's safe, don't worry, don't worry. But nonetheless, I have kicked the day off with a serving of Human 24 Rise, as you have already seen, and a bagel thin with some light Lurpak and some jam. Calories and the macros have already been presented on the screen for you. So what I will do is add to that total throughout the day so you can see how things unfold. But without any further ado, let's enter the pain cave / home gym / solace of suffering. Also, today we are filming a full day of eating. So if you have any specific nutrition questions, stick them in here and I will record a response to them later this afternoon, which will go out in a video a week on Sunday. See you later on. Okay, so AM lower session is out of the way. We had 2 sets of 3 at 190, 2 sets of 6 at 170, then we had 3 sets of 8 at 100 kilos, well no, it wasn't actually, because that's 32, at 112 kilos on the safety squat bar, and 4 sets of 16 total reverse lunges, 60 kilos, as I'm just easing back into some more volume spread across the week. So we are straight into a turbo trainer session in just a second. But today was challenging throughout my lower back because we've actually prioritised heavy deadlifts on a Monday, and on Monday I had 5 sets of 3 at 210. So as that is the most deadlift volume I've done in quite a while, I'm definitely feeling it in my lower back as we're moving into the rest of the week. So anyone that low bar squats will know you just sort of get that, oh that's actually okay feeling on the way down, just bracing through your core, etc, etc. So happy everything moved as well as it did. We are straight onto the turbo in a second. What's the magic word? Abracadabra. Magic. So, worth mentioning, only thing I'm having between these sessions since that bagel with butter and jam this morning is just some sort of calorie-free, carb-free electrolytes. Work in progress with Human24, trying to refine the optimal sodium formula for myself, and then there's a few exciting things coming to market soon enough, but for the time being, it's all mine. I'm very sorry. So, I'm going to sip on this. I've got 42 minutes on what used to be called the Sufferfest, is now called Wahoo system. 42 minutes on Do As You're Told. I've got it preloaded on here because the Wi-Fi is so bad through there that I've actually given up on running it off my laptop. So I'm just going to have this in front of me. Oh. Lumos. Apologies, that's my second magic reference. What is going on? You can tell somebody watched all the Harry Potter films over Christmas. Anyway, I am going to crack on because we're a little bit tight for time to get into Edinburgh and then into the office for my first meeting at 10. So without any further ado, I will see you on the bike. Okay, so whilst I'm in the final 70 seconds of my warm-up, I thought I'd run you through a little bit of logic behind why I've got an intense turbo session immediately after a relatively high demand lower body session. So in terms of positive adaptation, we're consolidating stresses into the same sort of movement pattern. So this means that today, all my lower body high power output demand is consolidated into the same period of time, which means that from a recovery point of view, we're consolidating that demand into one session, meaning that we don't need to add additional recovery protocol into that for the remainder of the week, if that makes sense. So I've got 22 intervals to get through here, sort of varying power and intensity, but I've done this session before and it's fairly grim, so I'll see you on the flip side. Alright, so job done there. All felt relatively solid, to be honest. Legs felt powerful, which is always reassuring to sort of feel the intention of a session come into play. 1 minute 50 seconds left of this cool down, and then straight in the shower, straight in the car to the office. And I will run you through a little bit more behind the logic of the nutrition approach in the car, but I think for the time being, let's go blender blending shot, then I'll see you in the car. Size of that. Just a quick interlude to let you know that today's video is sponsored by me and Omnia Performance. So the question really is, at this point, do you want to do all of this? Run for your life. Well, in that case, you know where to go, my friend. You know where to go. So, if you've been watching the past few videos, you'll have heard me talking a lot about all the new products going live on Omnia's website, which is myself and Johnny, my coach of 5 years, and now business partners, coaching business. Everything is now live, which is very, very exciting. So if you go to the top link in the description down below, we have launched a whole range of new training programs for you to dive into. We have a hybrid 101, a 12-week beginners program for absolute beginners to begin to become hybrid athletes. And then we have 10 16-week programs for you to work through from a hybrid strength and whether it's mile, whether it's 5K, whether it's half marathon or ultras, and triathlons, etc. There's a whole range of stuff on there, so do head to the website to see what might be suitable for you. We've also updated our coaching offering with some information on group coaching, and our one-to-one offering, our bread and butter that we've been practicing for the past couple of years, is still alive and kicking with a few exciting add-ons as well. So if you're interested in becoming a hybrid athlete yourself but don't know where to begin, then allow us to help you begin. Top link in description. Back to the video. And here we have a smoothie, which I'm going to put down for the sake of driving, not being a dickhead on camera. But that is a scoop of Human 24 plant protein, vanilla caramel flavour, a banana, 300 millilitres of semi-skimmed milk, some water, some agave syrup, some spinach, some frozen berries, and some frozen mango. And I think that's it. I might have forgotten something, but who really even cares? Calories and macros on the screen for you just here. And I thought I would take this opportunity to run you through a little bit more around my approach to nutrition. So I'm not going to do death by detail because I've already done that once before in this video, as I've said. Link is top in the description, so if you want to go there at any point to figure out how you can approach your nutrition this way, then please do, as we found it to be the most effective way to manage hybrid training if you've got quite a variable training schedule. So with that in mind, I kind of call this approach balancing the books day by day rather than week by week, and that's because my training week by week is quite variable depending on my outputs the previous week. So whilst we could normally predict I'm doing 6 sessions a week at this intensity, at this volume, therefore I will account for that into my baseline calorie intake and eat the same thing every day, I actually take it day by day rather than across the week. So I have calculated that my current maintenance calorie intake through trial and error over the years and through referencing calorie calculators is around 3,000, and that's based on my steps per day, how I classify myself as moderately active or very active in the sort of calorie calculator options. I tend to suggest that if you weight train 3 to 4 times a week and walk up to 10,000 steps, between 5 and 10,000 steps a day, you can probably class yourself as very active. If you're doing less than that, then I just go active. So that will give you your baseline calorie intake. Maintenance you can then work to, or you can sort of add 5 to 10% for a surplus or decrease 5 to 10% for a deficit. I'm in a maintenance phase at the moment, so I'm eating 3,000 calories as my baseline, and then with the data from my bike session here, times that calorie intake by 0.9 and add that on top of 3,000, and that is the amount of calories that I will eat today. And the reason for doing that is just because it means that we're fine-tuning my nutrition intake around how much I'm burning on a day-to-day basis, because the biggest mistake people often make with their nutrition when hybrid training is not eating enough. So the best way to do that is to try and work it into the closest window of opportunity time around the training sessions, so that you're always balancing the books, as it were. And before anyone jumps into the comments saying calorie trackers aren't accurate, etc., etc., I know neither are calorie calculators online, neither is the Bank of England base rate for most predictions, I guess. Everything in life is a guess. We are completely made up in the Western world. Life is a construct. Life is a simulation. How deep could we go here? No one really knows, but tune in next week on Mysteries of the West. Anyway, what am I doing? Back to the matter at hand. Calorie trackers have a decent estimate based on the data available to us, so the reason that I go 0.9 times that is to account for any margin of error and work like that way. So, principle is simple. Calculate your baseline calorie intake for maintenance, add or minus whether you're in a deficit or a surplus, then eat back 90% of the calories you burn from cardiovascular work on top of that. Include your weight training and step count into the baseline calculations in the calorie calculator. I've linked one in the description down below as well. I am now merging on Death by Detail, so I am going to draw a line under this and send you in the direction of the previous nutrition video I've done if you would like more information on exactly that. But for the rest of the day, I will run you through what it looks like and what I am eating. So, see you down the road. so it is 11:30 and I have myself a flat white with semi-skimmed milk, I believe. Calories and macros on the screen here, totals for you there. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good on the side of me. That was a meeting that overran by half an hour, and I was so rushed to make it on time as we came in, I just sat down straight to it and got through it without filming any of it. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So did it even happen? Did it even happen? Who knows? Who knows? It could be 3 in the afternoon. I could be making all this up. Nobody knows. Except I do, and it's all very, very clinically accurate. So, 25 to 12, it actually wasn't 11:30, that was a lie. 25 to 12 now, I'm going to crack on with whatever I put in my planner this morning. That was the first thing that I did when I got out of bed. So I have 11 till 12, basically just prepping and finalising some documents for all the Omnia training templates going live on the 2nd of Feb. So by the time this comes out, they will be live, so do go and get involved at Omnia Performance here for Instagram. The top link in the description will be our website, and there you can see all the products that we've got live and everything available for hopefully every ability level and every budget level we want to try and cater for. So please do go and have a look if you are interested in coaching and working with us directly. Then about 12 I'm going to have my lunch, which is pre-prepared here from RNS Meals. You can use Fergus 15 if you're in the UK to get yourself 15% off your order. Jerk chicken, plantain and broccoli with some white rice. Absolute banger, proper staple. And then the rest of the day I will run through as I go, but I will see you when I grab my lunch, because I might end up nipping out the front door to grab something from Pret as well, but don't tell my mum, she'll say it's bad for my teeth. Okay, so lunch is sorted. We have jerk chicken, white rice, broccoli and some plantain, which is a lesser found ingredient in the UK, but nonetheless an excellent one. I also got myself some leftover breakfast rations from Pret. Calories and macros on the screen for you just here. Running total will be up there somewhere. And in here I have a chocolate chunk cookie, which is delicious, and I'm going to have that. Then I'm going to have a serving of Flow by Human 24, which is a sort of caffeine-free nootropic adaptogen, which I take in the afternoon. My caffeine cutoff is midday generally, so I try to avoid any caffeine after that point. Sometimes it's before 11. I generally have 1 coffee on top of my rise in the mornings, and then I'll have this in the afternoon to basically pick me up without the adenosine restriction from additional caffeine, which is then going to affect my sleep, because all I'm trying to do at the moment is manage my circadian rhythm as well as I can so that my sleep is as optimal as possible. I can manage my training around it. I feel as full as energy as possible because there's a lot going on at the moment, so I want to be making it as easy as I can for myself by controlling what I can around all of that. So I'm going to get this scene 2, I'm going to get that scene 2, and then I'm going to get that part 2 scene 2, and I will see you probably at about 3, 4 as I crack on with a couple more hours of sort of training plan programming, and then some additional work on proofreading documents, etc. for the final bits, all going live a week today that we were recording this, in fact. So sit tight everyone, see you soon. Okay, so it's coming up to 5 to 5 and I have not eaten anything since we last spoke, so sorry to disappoint on a full day of eating focused video, but I've basically just been locked into some real focused desk work for the past however many hours. Everything has gone quite smoothly. Just sent out a bit of an informative email to Omnia's email subscription list on how the training plans are going to look, how they're going to be housed, etc, etc. So good to get that information out there. What I like to do each morning is mentally visualize how I'm going to manifest being Kobe Bryant all day. So let's just have a quick look here. Nah, that deserved to go in. I think we can all agree. So I'm not going to slip. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Anyway, what I do each morning, as you might have seen from the intro, is I plan out my day so it's all quite realistic. So I write down what I'm thankful for, today's priorities, and I put in a to-do list that is actually practical and realistic rather than just everything that there is to do, as that would be a list that would be never ending and would become quite overwhelming. So I've got that in there. I then translate this into a bit of flow for the day. And we are now at the point where for the past 2 hours I've just had urgent slot. So that's basically been anything outstanding, anything that's popped up throughout the day, anything that needs done by the end of the week, I can get that done in these 2 hours. And then 6 PM I've got to sort of travel through back to the house, so I'm not expected to really be back at the house and settled until about 7. Or I'll maybe do half an hour to 45 minutes more work at my desk and then have dinner, then walk the dogs, and then 1 episode of Criminal Minds, and then bed, because there's nothing like some true crime, well, it's not true crime, dramatic variations on true crime before you go to sleep to keep your sleep quality as high as possible. That was Gandhi that said that, I think. Anyway, that is something that I have found very valuable personally. I've actually got an Amazon link in the description for this because I get a lot of people asking about this whenever I've used it in videos in the past. But that is down there for your clicking pleasure as well. But without any further ado, I'm going to head upstairs, not for another meal, but for a pint. So I've just come home to 2 very excitable hounds who are, as you can see, mimicking dinner because they've already had it. And here, Erin has prepared some chicken in Nando sauce. Brits will understand. Some lettuce, some mayo, and some mini wraps. And I hope there's a few more of these as I have a fair few calories left. So I'm going to dive into this. Calories and macros on the screen for what's here. I'll probably add to this a little bit based on what I've got left. But for the time being, I'm going to dive in. So, it's not Taco Tuesday, it's
Wrap Wednesday.
Wrap Wednesday. See? With such humour like that, I think you should comment down below if you think Erin should feature more in videos. I can see she's frowning at me at the corner of my eye here. I've got excellent peripheral vision, but the frown is very clear. So it's only right if I come home to a cooked dinner that I give it a taste test live on camera because, you know, the love and care that's gone into it from Erin. It's only right for me to roast it on the internet if it's not up to standard, so let's see how I get on. Delicious. Delicious. So, chicken, Nando sauce, spinach, salt and pepper, I assume, lettuce, and mini wraps, plus mayo. Pretty simple, some more micronutrients. But there's definitely going to be some more food that I need to consume after this. I might have the chicken with some bagels, but it's kind of whatever's left at the end of the day at this point. So, happy Wrap Wednesday, everyone. Okay, so that was rather delicious, but we have faced a bit of a conundrum as there is not actually that much food left in the house, and I have finished a lot of key ingredients in the past day or two. So, the question on all our minds that I'm going to consult the main gentleman of the house on is, Pig, whether or not I should go to the supermarket to get some cereal. What do you think, sir? Tell you what, why don't you snort loudly if the answer's yes? I'd say that probably qualifies as some loud snorts. Look at the absolute state of this. Anyway, I think at this point, 7:30, I'm going to go and get some cereal and have it as my last meal, acting like a 12-year-old when my parents aren't home, so I will see you very shortly. Plot twist, actually haven't left for cereal just yet, as I was just opening a few things that have come in the post and was very proud to receive this. So, certificate from Movember for having hit £100,000 raised overall, which I'm very proud to have received. I'll get that stuck up in the office, and I've had some very exciting podcast recording kit upgrades land, which reminds me to give you all a nod and encourage you to go and tune into the Modern Mind podcast on whatever platform you listen on. Just search for The Modern Mind or engage with it on Instagram here. Link is in the bottom of the description as well, so you can go and check it out there. We are 21, probably 22 episodes deep by the time this video goes live, and I'm a little bit biased, but they are all pretty sick, so you should probably go and engage. And if you do, please do remember to rate and review the show and to share your favourite episode with a friend, as it helps the podcast continue to grow. Anyway, back to cereal shopping. And cereal has been acquired, so I'm going to have 100 grams of this with 300 millilitres of skim milk, and that will take me to my calorie requirements for the day. Calories for this childish, albeit, meal on the screen for you here, and totals for the day just there. Gonna get this down me in a second once I've ran through 5 questions from Instagram that I asked this morning earlier today. Just gonna run through 5 as quickly as I can, as I'm conscious this video is potentially getting quite long. But last thing to note before I go to bed in about 45 minutes, as it is 9:05 now, I'll have a serving of Pre-Sleep by Human24, which is just an absolutely fantastic sleep supplement that I've been taking for several months now and has been doing my sleep quality a world of good. So I've got this down, well, up by my bed rather, and down here, so it's very, very difficult for me to forget to take it. 1 serving, and I do generally feel a difference when I do forget to take it, which is kind of frustrating. So it comes with me everywhere when I'm traveling, etc, etc, as sleep quality is something I'm trying to be very, very focused on in 2022. So you're probably wondering, Fergus, why did you have a pint a few hours earlier? Good question, I respond. Because I felt like it. So anyway, balance, my friends, balance. Okay, enough talking, let's go down to 5 very quick fire questions before we round out the video. Okay, so here we have some questions from throughout the day, and I'm going to choose 5 to run through just to box off this video. So, number 1, Thomas Ennett, training for mass and strength but not gaining any mass. Best tips, I'd say plain and simple, increase your calorie intake and increase your lifting volume. Do that for 4 to 6 weeks and then assess whether you have gained any mass, any weight on the scales, etc, etc. And if your strength is continuing to increase, then generally that is a good indicator that you are building muscle. Whether it's visible, whether it's appearing on the scales or not at the same rate is somewhat variable, so I'd track trends over time rather than just focusing on the short term. Number 2, what is your take on intermittent fasting, brackets, whilst also training? Anza Kumar. Odie, be quiet. Good grief. Anyway, intermittent fasting is a very useful tool for calorie restriction because all you're doing is condensing the window of time in which you're eating. So from an optimal performance point of view, I'd say it's not necessarily a good idea because you're not eating steady... Oh, he's snoring so loudly. You're not eating meals steadily throughout the day and therefore steadily fueling yourself throughout the day. But it's not to say that it's completely destructive to your performance. It might just not be optimal. So if you're deep into a deficit and you really need to restrict your calories in some way, then it can be a useful tool and the lesser of several evils. But from a performance point of view, it's not something I really often do unless I'm in real poverty calories. So there's pros and cons, but from a performance point of view, mostly cons. Number 3, Harvey Eels. How do you track your weight, eating a varied amount of calories daily? Use an average of the week, ? So I weigh in every Monday morning and that's it. And then I track the trends over time and act accordingly rather than weighing myself every morning, because that will provide highly variable data, might make me second guess the plan, might make me second guess things, and doesn't account for water weight, what I ate that night, whether I've had an especially large piss in the morning, whatever it ends up being. My weight is highly variable, so weighing every Monday morning with a pretty predictable sort of weekend Sunday schedule, it means that there's a bit of a constant to work from rather than the ebbs and flows of day-to-day life weighing yourself every day. Number 4, is pre-workout a must before any session? I'd say absolutely not, no, and pre-workout is not something that I use at all anymore and haven't for several years. So I think the stimulant and come down effect and how that can affect your sleep is potentially quite negative. I did used to enjoy the Friday bro session, everybody in stringer vests, dry scooping pre-workout and going to the gym. I enjoyed the social aspect, but pre-workout now is too much of a sort of peak for too much of a trough to work around my training, given especially sometimes the endurance focused stuff is a bit steadier. The weightlifting requires real laser focus, that the agitatedness that pre-workout can give you actually gets in the way for me. For you personally, for the general population, I say pre-workout is absolutely not a must, but if it's something that you feel you need or want to get on with, then you can give it a go, but that's up to you to decide for yourself whether it's something you want to use long term. Number 5, source of protein for breakfast, keep up the great content. Thank you, Kurt Ahern. I rely on Faye, I've read the label, Greek yogurt, 0% fat specifically, as it's about 50 grams of protein for 250 odd calories. I have it with oats, frozen raspberries, sometimes an additional scoop of whey protein if I'm feeling mental that morning, and then chuck in some stevia sweetener or honey or agave or something like that just to sweeten it up, and that is a real decent hit of protein first thing in the morning and can actually taste quite good. if you add enough sweetener. If you don't add enough sweetener, it tastes like what I'd imagine a cat that has been rolled over by a truck and then pissed on by a homeless man would probably taste like. But that is something that I've only experienced once and don't really want to rush back to, so I wouldn't recommend having it without sweetener, is the moral of that story. So anyway, that is 5. There are more here, so if you do have any additional questions, please do drop them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get to them. But I will not answer any questions that are answered in detail in this video here, and is linked down in the description. And the dogs have told me themselves that if you ask a question that is clearly explained in that video, they will come to your house and rough you up, because it has already been put out onto the internet for you to analyse yourself. I'm just the messenger, their words, not mine, so don't shoot me. I'm just passing on. But other than that, I do hope you've really enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do make sure you've dropped it a like, commented down below, and that you have subscribed. Otherwise, I've got some more threats from the dogs that they've asked me to pass on, but I'm going to show mercy this time around and just assume that you have subscribed by this point. So, without any further ado, I will see you later.